Okay guys, so some more DIY today. Today I'm changing the plug sockets and switches, electrical fittings, etc. over from our standard white ones, you can see here, to these cool eye candy, eye trendy switches available from Amazon. Trendiswitch. Got all the range here. I've got some doubles, some singles, plug sockets. I've also got some USB plug sockets coming at a later date as well because they didn't arrive at the same time. I've gone for the piano black, but you can also get here on the side, as you can see, the silver, the white, the gold and the black that I've got here. Online they are available in pretty much all different varieties, so you should be able to do your whole house if you want to, and you can even get like custom ones made with your own sort of colours or designs on it if you will if you want to. So they're quite versatile, they look good. One cool thing as well is that they are actually screwless, so you can see there's no screw holes once they're fitted, which is good for a number of reasons. I am a DIYer, so I'm going to let you know how I find it as I go. One thing that I have bought just to help myself as I'm a DIYer is one of these, which is a multi-contact voltage tester. This is only about 10 quid. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I'll put the link in the bio. But what it does is it's going to help you confirm the electricity is off, because at the moment I've got the power on. Obviously you need the power off when you do it. The first one I'm going to do is this single socket. If you put it on there, you can see, I don't know if this camera will pick it up, but once the light is on, it's going to beep to confirm that there is power there, which means that we're going to get electrocuted if we change it. So once I turn the power off, I'll just show you exactly how it works after. So the first one up is the single switch, which is going to be changed over to the single switch piano black one, which I've just got out here. That's going up first. Okay, first thing you want to do is to remove the front plate. I've just levered this off here, but at the bottom corners here, on the back, you can see there's just little screw, little clip fixings. All you need to do is get a little screwdriver just to lever that in, and you'll be able to take the back plate off. This is a single switch. That's how it's going to fix to the wall, and the plate goes over it. So this should be the easiest fixing. You've got COM there for your power, and then your inlines. There is instructions if you're using different ones in here about how the power delivery should go. Please note it may well be different from the first one I did. This one, it is actually different in terms of the setup of where the wires go, so don't just put them back exactly the same holes. Make sure you pay attention to where the electrical stuff is going. It's not difficult to do even if you are a DIYer, but just take a moment to get it right, otherwise you'll end up shorting the system out. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one done first, and I'm going to start by shutting off the power. Okay, we're under the stairs cupboard now. So you've got all your different trip switches here. If in doubt, and if you're a DIY, you want to be safe and sure, the biggest one will always shut the whole power to the house off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Shut that down now. I'm going to turn everything off. As you can see, the lights have gone off in the cupboard. And again, just to confirm, I'm going to flick the switch to make sure there's no power running through it, and I'm going to use my tool just to be doubly sure. And you can see there's no beep at all now, so we know that that circuit is dead. If you're confident in your electrical system, then you really probably don't need the electrical tool, but if you're a DIYer, for the sake of £10, it's just an extra bit of safety in my mind, so that's why I'm using it here. So I'm just going to quickly undo the two screws which hold it. So literally all you need for this is a screwdriver. Nothing fancy needed, and then we can have a look at this circuit set up as it is in this first single switch. Okay, so now the switch is out, we can see there's only two wires going into it, which is the live and the earth, the live and the switched. So you can see the blue is going into the COM and the brown is going into the one line. So I'm just going to double check how that looks on my new switches, and then swap the wires over. Again, before we start playing with those, just one more quick check as close as we can to make sure there is no power there. No beeping. Perfect. Okay, so the cables are off now, so I just thought I'd quickly show you how the backs of the two different units look. As you can see, the COM and the 1 and 2 sections are in different places, so it's important to make note of where they come first. A good idea is always to take a photo before you remove the wires, so you make sure you know what went in what sockets, and obviously reference the individual guide for the sockets you're using. So have a good look before changing them over. Okay, so that's the new one installed in place. Even as this is the first one, and taking just a minute to check out the cables right, that literally took, just a few minutes to change. So it's quite a simple DIY job as long as you know what you're doing and you take your time. I'm just going to put it back now and make sure it fits up nice and square. Okay, so we're all fastened on now. I just wanted to point out one thing that I really like. I like attention to detail. I just wanted to put out these are quite well designed because as you can see, the screw holes have got nice little bit of space in either side, which does allow you to get the switch on perfectly straight. I'm even going to go and get a spirit level in a second just to make sure it's perfect. With a traditional switch, obviously the screw holes just go where they go and it's always a bit hit and miss. But there is quite a nice bit of play to allow you to get it exactly straight. So I really like that. And obviously another feature is when you're painting, there's obviously a lot of mess that gets on the plug sockets when you're on the light sockets when you're painting. Whereas here, if you are going to paint, you can just pop the face here off, switch the power off, and you can just paint away as much as you want because none of this is going to be seen. So I think it's a much better design. So well done to you, Trendy guys. I really like this design. So final part of the process is just to pop the cover on, and all you literally do is, that's it, just a quick clip on, and then it fastens on nice and secure. And as you can see, that is our first one on, and I think it's a much better improvement on what we had before, the traditional sort of switches. This single switch is particularly sleek, I think, and I think it's personally my favourite. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that's perfectly straight, so I'm going to play with that in a minute, but I think that's the first one on. One quick note, if you're going to change multiple things in one setting, which I am, make sure you remember to test the power back on and off to make sure it's okay before doing the next one, just in case you do get a trip, and it saves you going back and working out which one it was that tripped it. So I'm going to flick the power back on, make sure the switch is operational, and then move on to my next one. Power's back on, as you can see the lights are back on, so moment of truth. Yep, works nicely, beautiful. Next one. So my double switch is up already, but I just thought I'd give you a quick overshow of the difference of the backings in case you're not an electrician and DIY like me. And you can literally just see that there's two, I'm not sure what you call them, but two electric fittings on the back of them. This is the double gang on the Trendy switch, just so you can have a look at the difference. Again, you will note that some of the locations are in different places. You've got the com here on this one, and it's there and there, and the linings are in different places. So just make sure that you get everything correct before turning the power on, otherwise it will trip. And just to show you the second one, the double switch looks nice as well, it's all up and fitted. So that's my switches. I'm just going to jump on and do my first plug socket now. I'm going to start with this one, this is the most visible. This is my first time having a look at a plug socket, so I'm going to have to take my time and have a look carefully. Okay, so the first socket is off, and as I was a bit concerned, it's a mess in there. There's wires everywhere, so this looks a lot more complicated. So I've just gone back to the wiring manual, but thankfully the Trendy design one is very clearly marked on the back as to what goes where. So same practice as before. I'm just going to make a note of what wires are coming out of where, test to make sure the voltage is definitely off, and then fit things back up and have a look at putting that on. But you can see from the back of this design, it's much clearer and much easier to see. Obviously designed at a DIY, so make sure this is easy to change for yourself. So I'm going to have a go at this now. Okay, so it's a bit more fiddly because the wires are a lot more wires, and you have to get multiple wires into one socket bit where you tighten up. So it's a bit more fiddly. It's taking a bit of time, but that's all installed now. So I'm just going to put the plate back up and fix it up and give it a quick test. Okay, so that one's all back in. I'm quite happy with how it's fitted back up. I'm just going to stick the power back on, test it, and then put the fascia plate back on. Plate's back on, and I think much better. Than the white one that was there. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, I've just got the second one off. This setup is more straightforward from the last one. Obviously, it's taken off a different place of the circuit. So we've just got 2 into the live, 2 into the earth, 2 into the neutral. So it's going to be much easier to transfer over, and there's a lot more space for the wires to go. On the last one, I had quite a bit of trouble getting them sat back in the recess nicely so the plug socket could sit down. But this one looks like it's going to be much more straightforward. So as you can see, they are all going to be slightly different. But once you've done the first one, it's quite straightforward. So power's off. I'm going to go ahead and switch this one over. Second one done, and I'm much more happy with the way that one's sat down and fitted nicely. So that one's in now, along with the first one over there. Okay guys, so this is the final video. I think I've gone into enough detail about how I've fitted them and so on to get you a good idea of how they work. As you can see, I've got single switches, double switches, I've got the aerials, I've got the whole suite. I've even got the kitchen style setup. I'm really happy where they come out. As I told you, there's a couple of really good features which I like. One, that the adjustment to fix them on has a good bit of play, so you can get them fixed up nice and straight. And the second thing is you can remove the faces, really easy to get them sat down nice and straight. Got the USB ones hidden down here out of the way. They're not quite as pretty, so I put them in the lower areas. Got the double switches here. Another cool thing is at night, when there's not so much light, you can't even see the actual holes where the plugs go into, so it just looks like a black box with two strips, and that's really cool. So I'm really happy overall how they come out. One thing to note, if you are going to use the USB ones, then they are a touch more tricky to fit. In fact, they take quite a bit of work because the line ins and the powers is upside down, so it does take quite a bit more work to get them fitted, and often if there isn't enough gang in there to put the cables away, they can take a bit of work. So just think about whether you actually need them, whether you're going to use them or not, whether that's going to be best for you. But overall, I'm really happy with these. And the only thing I didn't like with them is I couldn't complete the range because they don't have a double dimmer switch at the moment. So I've ended up getting one of these. I'll put the link to this in the bio as well. It's also from Amazon. Actually, I really like these. They're more expensive. Otherwise, I had these throughout. But they only do the switches, they don't do the plug sockets. But I've had to use that instead of my dimmer, which is a little bit upsetting, but as it's sort of out the way and not linked to any of the other areas, I don't mind that so much. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with these products. It cost me, I don't know, about 150 quid to do the whole of the downstairs. And as you can see, we've got a lot of sockets. So I'm pretty happy with that. If you have any questions, drop me a line.